Something that we hear a lot of is men referring to women as pillow princesses.
What's wrong with these goddamn men?
You are not your trauma. You have experienced trauma, but you are not your trauma. After we reach orgasm, our dopamine levels do drop. Because I suppose that is the difference when you are on top. You know, you're kind of a lot more exposed. There is a way to safely navigate in. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back. So we are back with another sex Q&A, and as always, nothing is off limits. This is our safe space where we can have open, honest conversations about absolutely anything. As you guys know, these videos are always demonetized because I am talking about sex, and YouTube does not favor people talking about sex, so any engagement is highly appreciated. I've got my coffee, I've got the fire lit beside me, we're all cozy and we're ready to dive right on in. Okay, so the first question is it weird that he only ever wants me to be on top and do all the work? Something that we hear a lot of is men referring to women as pillow princesses, which is just hilarious because I personally feel like when you actually break it down, men are a lot more guilty of making the woman do a lot more work in the bedroom than he's doing. You know, a lot of the time he's the one not pulling his goddamn weight. Sex is a team sport, and although there's nobody standing at the sidelines with a stopwatch, you know, saying you've had your 60 seconds, it's time for your 60 seconds, sex requires an equal amount of give and take for both people to be satisfied. My guess here would be that at the beginning of the relationship, you know, you were enthusiastic and excited and very happy to please him, as is most people when they're in something new and exciting, you know, and you probably assumed that as time went on and the relationship matured that, you know, things would become a little bit more equal, and that's obviously not happened here. The first thing I'd say is, have you communicated your needs to him? Because if you haven't, you must. There's literally a proven correlation between a couple's ability of being able to talk about their sex life and the satisfaction of your sex life. They go hand in hand. So if you want things to change here, the only way they're going to change is if you speak up and express that to him. And obviously his reaction here is going to tell you a lot. It's going to tell you absolutely everything you need to know. For example, if he turns around and says, I'm so sorry, I wasn't even aware, I didn't realise, you know, it was so 80-20, I'm going to start pulling my weight and, you know, making it more equal in the bedroom, that's the response you would obviously hope to hear. But if he turns around and he's being very difficult or stubborn or awkward about it or arguing with you, well then I feel like this is a conversation of a much larger issue than, you know, just one in the bedroom. The only way you can go about this is by being brutally honest. Like literally say, I'm so fed up with doing all the work in the bedroom and I really want you to make more of an effort. I feel like you just have to wait and see how he responds and go from there. But what I will say is, just say, you know, you being on top is his favourite position. You can be on top and he can still do all the goddamn work. Hello? Like, you don't have to be doing the work if you're on top. You can just lean forward a little bit and, you know, let him take over. And it feels amazing, if I do say so myself. Moving on. So, how do I teach my boyfriend to go down on me when I don't even know myself? He always tries his best, but he doesn't stay down there very long. It feels nice, but not great. I'd love to be able to reach orgasm from oral, but I don't know how. Where do we go when we want to get the sex ed that we wanted, but we never got? We go to the Netflix of sexual wellness, Beducated. As you guys know, Beducated is my all-time favourite online course platform. They have so much valuable information over there, and two courses that I couldn't recommend enough for you and your partner to sit down and do together would be the Intimate Touch one and the Cunnilingus one. I feel like this would be so beneficial for you both, learning about one another's bodies and figuring out how to reach orgasm through oral and things that feel good and techniques, and you can see all of these things demonstrated on Beducated, which is one of the reasons why I love them so much. The experts on Beducated are all so comforting and welcoming and calming. It doesn't feel like, you know, there's a teacher in front of you, you know, teaching you oral. It's very natural and genuine. It's like a very high quality produced YouTube video. So in the Intimate Touch course, you will learn how to understand and explore both your and your partner's genitals, introduction to the idea of relaxed giving and receiving, learn techniques and ways to touch the genitals and and also practical details like, you know, how to set up your space and how to sit comfortably. So valuable. And then the cunnilingus course will cover 10 basic and advanced techniques for giving oral, which is something that I feel would be so beneficial to you here when you're saying you don't know how to do it yourself. So how are you meant to explain it to your partner? And that's why I feel like both of you guys sitting down and doing these courses together would be so helpful. In the cunnilingus one, you'll also learn better communication strategies, which is so important when it comes to sex, that you're able to, you know, give your partner feedback. You'll also learn how to develop a giver's and receiver's mindset to get in the mood. But you can currently get 1 day free on Beducated, so you could literally go over there tonight, do the 2 courses with your boyfriend, and if you enjoy Beducated, you could then get 40% off the early pass using my code Jessie. They're always adding so many new courses. There's so much information on there that you will not find anywhere else on the internet. Like, they give you demonstrations as well. Like, so for example, when they're showing you the oral techniques, you're seeing them demonstrated. So it's very different to even if I was to sit here and try and, you know, explain to you verbally how to do it. You cannot beat physically seeing something being done. There's just no comparison to it. There's something about visual learning that just makes it so much easier. So I've been with my boyfriend for 1.5 years now, but I've got to the point where I just don't want to have sex with him anymore. Like, he doesn't turn me on. I thought it was me and my libido, but I don't think it is. Advice please and thanks. R.I.P. I'm so sorry, I couldn't help but laugh at that. Like, was that intentional? Like, rest in peace, my sex life. Advice please and thanks, R.I.P. The first thing I'd ask yourself, is this a new thing or has it been going on for months? Because desire, of course, comes in waves, and depending on what's going on in your life, it's going to affect your desire as well, you know, and your want to have sex. The fact that you're saying he doesn't turn you on anymore means that he did turn you on at a point. And I'm wondering, because you're only together in 1.5 years, they say that the honeymoon phase can last anywhere from 3 months up to 2 years. And I wonder, is it a case of once you got out of the honeymoon phase and, you know, you kind of fell more into reality and the rose tinted glasses came off and you kind of realised, okay, this is the situation I'm in, and maybe you have realised that you aren't very sexually compatible, or maybe you just aren't very compatible in general, or there's just something there missing. I just wonder, because, you know, you aren't together a very long time, and the fact that you were once turned on by him and now you're not, something's changed there, you know. Another thing to note is that obviously being turned on starts way outside the bedroom. It starts first thing in the goddamn morning. You know, being turned on has a lot to do with, you know, how someone is as well. Like, you'll be turned on by someone seeing them hard working, you know, seeing them taking care of themselves, you know, fueling their body, getting their sleep, you know, going, exercising for their walks, to the gym, whatever it is. Like, seeing how somebody is essentially a part of what makes you turned on. So if it's not the honeymoon phase thing, I wonder, has something else changed? Like, you know, maybe when you got together, was he really hard working and taking care of himself? Maybe now, is he just sitting at home all day every day playing video games and his room's a mess and he's not fucking taking care of himself, and you're just looking at him going, what is going on? If you were seeing someone sit there all day every day playing video games, you know, you're probably not going to want to go and rip their clothes off, because you're just looking at them being like, what are you doing? Do something. If it's not either of them two things, I wonder, could it be unresolved conflict or resentment in the relationship? Like, maybe you guys have been spending too much time together and you're so on top of each other and you're just getting so agitated and frustrated with each other because you're not having enough space to breathe. Or maybe has there been some falling out within the relationship? Has he done something that, you know, kind of made you take a step back and not feel as connected and close to him as you once did? Or could it be that yous are just spending way less time with each other and you're not actually having enough time to pour in and nurture the relationship, which is making you feel like there's a lot of distance between you guys? Which therefore, you know, would correlate into the bedroom. Like, if you're not feeling close and connected with somebody, you're not going to want to get intimate with somebody, because it's one of the closest things you can do with somebody. I feel like you need to pinpoint what you think and feel is the cause of this, And, you know, obviously if it is sexual incompatibility, well then, it's a case of you guys not being right for each other. But if it's any of the other things I mentioned, there is a possibility that you guys could work through it if he also is going to meet you halfway. So for example, him not turning you on a day-to-day basis, maybe his whole lifestyle has changed and maybe he's become very lazy or he's not doing much. You know, if he doesn't want to start doing things, there's not much you can do there. Like, for example, maybe he's not working but he doesn't want to go get a job and he's happy to stay at home. Well, you can't do any more then. You know, he has to be willing to meet you halfway, to work on or compromise on whatever area of the relationship is slacking at the minute. You know, it takes two people to make something work. One person cannot do it all by themselves. Our next question is, I feel sad after I masturbate. Is this normal? Part of me thinks it's because there's no love involved, but I don't know. I'm a girl, by the way, and I've never had sex. Okay, so while depression isn't caused by masturbation, studies have shown that shame associated with masturbation can have an effect. So what that means is that people who feel masturbating is taboo or wrong may experience guilt as a result of doing it, you know, and then that guilt can negatively affect you. So I feel like first it's kind of important to note, like, if you do have them feelings attached to masturbating, which a lot of people do, it's literally been bet into us. So if you do have any feelings of shame or guilt around masturbating, you know, that could be linking. But in saying that, it's also perfectly normal to feel a range of emotions, including sadness, after any sexual activity, because orgasm can be such an intense experience.
Oh, I've got a cramp in my toe. Oh, my toe's cramping.
Oh my god.
What the hell is going on? I've been like sitting on my feet and my toes are cramping up.
I did a bit of research on this. Some people also experience something called postcoital dysphoria. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this can lead to feelings of anger, anxiety, agitation, sadness, and even the urge to cry. But they say that for people who suffer with this, it normally only lasts a few minutes up to 2 hours. They believe that postcoital blues could have something to do with the fact that after the rush of an orgasm, your dopamine levels drop, and low dopamine is associated with lack of ambition, social anxiety, depression, etc. So they think that might be where it's coming from, but they're still not entirely sure because there's so much they don't understand when it comes to sex and hormones, etc., and all the links in between all of them. But what I would say is that regardless of what the hell is causing it, I don't feel like it has anything to do with the fact that there's no love involved, because I've experienced feelings of sadness, etc., even after being intimate with another person, you know. So I don't think there's that direct connection. I think it is just a case of after we reach orgasm, our dopamine levels do drop. So what we need to focus on there is bringing our dopamine levels back up. So if you're feeling sad after you masturbate, do something nice for yourself. Run yourself a nice hot bubble bath. Make yourself a nice hot drink. Put on your comfort show. Call a friend. Just bring them dopamine levels back up and do something nice for yourself. Something that you love, you enjoy, that makes you feel cozy inside. And I feel like that's the key here, because you're going to experience them feelings from time to time, even if you are with the partner. I'd say out of a percentage, I'd probably experience it maybe 15% of the time. But I feel like the key here is to quickly interjecting and doing something else for yourself.
Oh boy.
I've been having casual sex with a guy from work, and I found out that he has a girlfriend who works at the same place. I'm absolutely mortified. What do I do? He has got some balls, I tell you.
The same goddamn place. What's wrong with these goddamn men? What's wrong with you?
First of all, this is in no ways a reflection of you. You have done absolutely nothing wrong here. You had no idea he had a girlfriend. You were just having casual sex with a guy who you assumed was also single, having casual sex with you. So don't be eating yourself up for it. But when it comes to what do, I feel like you should do what you would want her to do if she was in your situation? So imagine he was your boyfriend and he was sleeping with her. What would you want her to do? I'm sure your answer is going to be the same as mine. You'd want her to tell you. Of course you would. You wouldn't want to stay with this guy for another 5 years, have a kid in a house with him, and then find out that he's been riding half the goddamn town the whole time you've been with him. You know? So I feel like you do what's the right thing to do. And even though it's really shit, it's really hard, you know, she could turn around and have a go at you, or she could turn around and be so thankful to you for telling her, which I would assume would be the more likely route to go. I feel like in this day and age, women, we've gotten a lot better at being on each other's side. So for example, I feel like just say 10 years ago, in such a scenario, the woman would blame the woman, whereas now I feel like we've clued in a bit more and we blame the man because he's the one in the relationship with us. You know, she's not the one we're in a relationship with, it's him. He's the one who's done wrong. This girl who's a stranger to me hasn't done anything to me. She was unaware. He's played the both of us at his own goddamn game. Idiot. I'm feeling emotions right now as if this is my best friend going through this. I'm furious. But yeah, honestly, I feel like all you can do is stop sleeping with him. I'm sure you haven't slept with him since you found out. Don't entertain him anymore. Act like the goddamn guy doesn't exist and tell her and give her a chance to have a fucking decent life without this dick. These men are so goddamn confident they're not going to get caught. They're sleeping with someone in the same place that the girlfriend works in. Breathe. Okay, so the next question is, hi, I'm almost 30 and haven't had sex. I went through an assault at 20 which made me scared to be intimate, but now I really want to meet someone, a partner, be in love and be loved. Problem is, even though I'm healing, I'm still scared and embarrassed. Do you have any advice for someone's first time? First of all, I just want to say I'm so sorry you went through that, and you 100% can meet someone and love and be loved regardless what you went through. You know, I went through an assault in my late teenage years, and I feel like there are things that I wish I'd done afterwards that I didn't. So I'm going to share my best advice given the situation, but I'm sending you so much love. I would say in this situation, you know, you don't want to just be going out and having sex with anybody. You know, you want to meet somebody that you feel comfortable around and you can trust and you feel like you can communicate and be open with. It's so important. Especially in a situation like this, you know, where you are feeling very vulnerable. You have nothing to be embarrassed about, absolutely nothing to be embarrassed about, you know. For a lot of survivors, learning how to enjoy sex again can be a huge part of the healing process. One of the most important things I feel when you've experienced assault is to learn the difference between sex and assault. The thing that separates sex from sexual assault is consent, and that all parties are agreeing to what is happening by choice and free will. It's so important to remember that sexual activity should be done so with enthusiastic consent, and that scenarios like assault take that control involuntarily out of your hands. This was something that was very important to me after I went through an assault, was really understanding the differences between assault and sex, you know, because it can get very muddled in your head when you have gone through something very traumatic. So once you understand the consent bit, it can help you feel a lot more in control, you know, because you are totally in control. The control is in your hands, you know. The second thing I'd say is to identify anything that may be triggering. So sex and intimacy obviously can be triggering for a lot of people post-assault, but it's important to remember that non-sexual situations may also make you feel incredibly triggered. If you feel like you're able to, and I would say you shouldn't be sleeping with someone where you don't feel comfortable communicating to them your triggers. It's so important for you to feel like you're in a safe space and you're comfortable, and communicate to them anything that you definitely don't want to do, anything that is off the table, you know. So for example, maybe you want to have the lights on when you have sex so you can see what's happening and you feel more in control of your space, you know. Or maybe you don't want to be touched in a specific area of your body, or you don't want your hair pulled, etc. Just be very upfront about what are no-goes. The third thing I would say is explore your body alone. So get to know your body without the pressure or expectation expectation from somebody else. So by yourself, you know, set the mood, light some candles, have a nice scent in the room, put on something that you feel good in, and really get in touch with your body. There's some amazing courses on Beducated that would really help you get in tune with your body again. After you've gone through assault, a lot of the time you mightn't feel very comfortable in your own skin, so it's much harder to translate that into being with another person. So if you're able to become more comfortable with yourself by yourself first, I feel like it's the best place to start. The next thing I'd say is setting boundaries for yourself, and even establishing them beforehand can help you feel much more in control of the situation, and reminding yourself that you can say no if and when you need to. Right when you're in the moment, when something's happening, just know, I don't like that, that's not comfortable, I want to stop. Literally, them 3 sentences are all you need. And then of course, it's so important to remember that people react so differently when they go through traumatic situations. You know, one person might want to have sex, start having sex straight away, and another person might even want to have sex for a really long time, and both are just as valid. Don't do something unless you want to do it. There's no point in ever doing something for the sake of it. So you say you feel embarrassed. I think it's absolutely incredible that you went through something at 20 and you've waited until you felt ready, and you're saying you're now 30. You've nothing to be embarrassed about. You did the goddamn right thing. If you went and had sex at 25 before you were ready to, you could have re-traumatized yourself, because that's what happens when we put ourselves into situations before we've healed enough or we feel ready to. It re-traumatizes you. It's so important to remember as well that you are not your trauma. You have experienced trauma, but you are not your trauma. I feel like a lot of us who experience trauma or assault, you can often identify so heavily with that because it's affected you so deeply that you then begin to feel like you are that experience that happened to you, when you are not under any circumstances. It is something you went through. It does not define you. You are a whole human. You are an amazing, incredible soul, and you are so much more than what you went through. If you haven't, which I'm sure you have, but therapy is also, of course, an amazing tool. And I wasn't aware, but there's actually something called body therapy, which is often recommended to people who have experienced sexual trauma, sexual assault. And it's to help you reconnect and engage with touch in a positive way again, because after sexual violence, it's very normal for your mind to forget it, but your body doesn't. I just want to give you the biggest virtual hug, and I'm sending you so much love. And I know you're going to meet your person, and you're going to be so loved, and you're going to love so hard, and I know they're out there for you, and you're going to find them. I know I've shared a lot of tips in regards having sex for the first time after assault, but aside from everything else I've said, when you are in the moment with somebody else, you know, bringing in your boundaries, bringing in your nose, bringing in all of that, once you've explored your body alone, let go, enjoy it, surrender to the moment. Sex is so enjoyable, it's so pleasurable, you know, and try your best to just really be in the moment as much as you can. And I really hope it's an amazing experience for you. And if it's not, most people's first time is shit. Mine was not good. So don't worry about that either. Your second time will be much better, I promise. Right, so our next question is, how do I safely navigate anal? I love how she puts safely in here, because it is the key word. There is a way to safely navigate anal, because anal can be not so safe. So when it comes to anal, the sphincter, which I'm probably butchering, basically the muscle in our ass, it takes time to relax and stretch. So going slow is so important. So whether you're doing this solo or you're with a partner, you want to start with your finger and go slow and just take your time. Once you feel like you're a little bit more open and relaxed, then you are best going in with a toy, but you want to go in with a toy that has a flared base. So basically it means the bottom is thicker than the top, so it kind of wants to go in like a little cone shape basically. Anal beads are great for this, because obviously you can put in one at a time, you know. Why am I like doing why am I showing you with my hands? The next thing you're gonna need, and you're gonna need lots of lube, my darling. Lube. Your bum does not make enough lubrication on its own for comfortable anal play, so you need so much lube, and go slow. If it becomes sore or it's not comfortable, it is so important that you do not keep going and you stop. or else try more lube, and if it's still not comfortable, you've got to stop. This is so important, right? Listen up, girlies. So due to the nature of the area and the potentially high levels of bacteria and parasites it can contain, there is a greater risk of infection, and not just STIs but other kinds of infections as well. And that's why it's so important and really recommended to use a condom if you are doing anal, and to never cross-contaminate. You don't want to go from your bum into your vagina, because you could give yourself an infection then. If you are going from your bum into your vagina, change the goddamn condom, because you do not want to take that risk. Also, really important that you're using either water-based or silicone-based lubes. Do not use oil-based lubes with condoms, because the oil will break down the latex and the condom is more than likely to break, and you do not want that to happen. So always make sure you're matching your lube right with your product. Just the same way you cannot use silicone lube with silicone sex toys. So just to keep it aware, if you are using an anal toy and it's silicone, you need a water-based lube. But aside from all of that, go and enjoy your goddamn self. Our next question is, my boyfriend 22 and I 19 are in our first relationship. Both virgins before. We've been having great sex, him giving me oral and penetrative sex. We've discussed me giving oral and being on top, but I'm so nervous I'm going to be shit. He said he can wait, but I want to try it. Please help. I love this. I love how you guys are exploring everything together. The first thing I would say is, take a chill pill, my darling. Breathe. You are fine, okay? I absolutely love this. You guys are exploring everything together and figuring out what you like and what's enjoyable. And you say you've been having great sex, and you're in a committed relationship, and you guys are both doing this all together for the first time. So I personally don't feel you have anything to be nervous about. I'm sure that he felt the exact same way that you were feeling before he did everything for the first time. You know, before he gave you oral, he gave you penetrative sex, whatever he did, I'm sure he was extremely nervous as well. But the only way you're not going to be nervous is by trying it, you know. Experience is the only way you're going to become more confident at doing something. And feedback, communicating with each other. I'm sure when he's been giving you oral, you've been telling him what feels good, to maybe move, etc, etc. So if you really want to give him oral and go on top, I'd say stop thinking about it. Just stop thinking about it and just do it, you know, because there's honestly nothing you can learn from just thinking about it. You're just stressing yourself out and working yourself up more. Whereas if you just go and do it, you know, he'll be giving you feedback while you do it. And just say even you go and start giving him oral and straight away he's like, keep doing that, that feels really good. You're going to feel great, and you're going to be like, why didn't I do this fucking a month ago? There was nothing to be afraid about whatsoever. But also, you could watch some courses on Beducated. They have a great one on giving head, and then you can also watch one on going on top. So Beducated is a great little tip. If you want to get some tips before you dive yourself into it, you could use the 1 day free pass at the minute. Then when it comes to being on top, trust me, you don't have anything to worry about, because you just need to work with what's feeling good. So if you get on top, if it's feeling good, just keep moving in that way, and he will also give you feedback, but he'll also be helping as well, you know. You can kind of do it together. When you're on top, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing all the work, because you can kind of lean forward a bit and he can grab onto your hips, he can thrust up from underneath you. You could even do that the first time, just until you get comfortable, you know, being on top, being a bit more on show, because I suppose that is the difference when you are on top, you know, you're kind of a lot more exposed. But that can also really help your confidence. You know, you can feel like a goddamn goddess being up on top. You know what I mean? I'd also say the fact you're so nervous means you're getting very in your own head. So try and shift this into an exciting thing. Being like, oh my god, like I'm so excited to try this out, like it's going to be so fun. Try and interject with some other thoughts, some positive thoughts, because it is exciting, it is fun, you know. You guys are navigating this all together, and I love how he's being really patient as well, and he's not pressuring you into anything. That's so important. Okay, my darlings, I'm going to wrap it up here, but don't forget you can get 1 day free over on Beducated and 40% off the early pass using my code Jessie, and I will have a link down below in the description box for you. But thank you so much for watching and for all of your continuous support. As always, it never goes unnoticed, and I'm just forever grateful for each and every one of you guys that supports me and has stuck with me through the years. But I love you all so very much, and I can't wait to see you all in my next video.